The battlefield was burning. Flames rose from broken ships. Smoke covered the skies. Ash fell like black snow. Bodies of both humans and aliens lay silent, some still holding their weapons. The war on planet Vera 7 had been brutal, and it was. Far from Overdot, in the middle of the chaos, a young human soldier named Leo lay on the cold ground, unable to move. His leg was broken. Blood soaked through his armor. The last thing he remembered was the explosion. His team had shouted, then vanished into the smoke. No one came back for him. The Cums were dead. His rifle was gone. Leo was alone, forgotten in the wreckage. Every breath hurt. He tried to sit up, but pain shot through his chest. His helmet visor flickered, showing nothing but static. He knew he didn't have long. The alien sun was setting fast, and at night the scavengers came out. So this is how it ends, he thought, closing his eyes. But then he heard footsteps, not small ones, not the light step of a human soldier. These were deep, slow, and heavy. The ground shook a little with each step. Leo's heart beat faster. He reached for a broken metal rod near his hand. If it was an enemy, he wouldn't go without a fight. The smoke parted. What he saw made him freeze in place. A giant alien woman stood over him. She was tall, maybe 9 feet or more. Her skin was a soft gray blue, and her eyes glowed faintly like moonlight. She wore armor that looked old but strong, with strange markings carved into it. A long scarf made of golden cloth wrapped around her shoulder and waist. She didn't speak. She just stared at Leo, her head tilted slightly, as if trying to understand what he was. Leo gripped the metal rod tighter. "Stay back," he coughed. "I'm armed." The alien didn't move. Then slowly she crouched down. Her hands were large, twice the size of his head, but her touch was careful. She reached out and touched his side, feeling his broken ribs. Leo winced, but didn't fight. She wasn't here to kill him in one smooth motion. The alien lifted Leo off the ground like he weighed nothing. He expected pain, but her arms were steady, and her warmth was strange, comforting. For the first time in hours, he didn't feel like a dead man. Leo tried to speak again. "Why are you helping me?" Of course, she didn't answer. But her glowing eyes held something he didn't expect: kindness. She turned and began walking away from the battlefield, still holding him close to her chest. As they moved through the ruined land, Leo saw things he hadn't noticed before: alien batters torn down, burned homes, even the remains of what looked like children's toys. Whoever she was, she had known war. Maybe she had lost someone too. The pain in Leo's body grew stronger, and his vision blurred. But before he passed out, he remembered one clear thought. She could have left me to die. But she didn't. He woke again sometime later. He was lying on a soft bed of moss inside a dark cave. The air smelled of herbs and fresh water. A strange glowing plant lit the space around him. His leg was wrapped in something warm. His wounds were covered in thick salve. And nearby, she was there, the alien woman. She sat beside a small fire, grinding herbs between her palms and humming a soft tune. It didn't sound human, but it was gentle, like a lullaby. Leo tried to sit up. She turned and rushed to his side, carefully helping him rest back down. Her hands were warm again, and her eyes looked calm. He stared up at her. "Why are you doing this?" The alien woman looked at him for a long moment. Then softly she placed her hand on his chest and said a single word: "Safe." Leo blinked. It was the first word she had spoken. He didn't know her name. He didn't know her story. But somehow, in that moment, he knew one thing for sure. He was safe now. Leo woke to the sound of water dripping. His eyes opened slowly. The pain in his chest was still there, but it was dull, Now not sharp like before. The moss under his back was soft. The air inside the cave felt cool and clean. For the first time in days, his body wasn't screaming in pain. He turned his head and saw her, the giant alien woman. She was kneeling beside a small fire, cooking something in a bowl made from stone. The smell of warm soup filled the cave. Her long scarf was now tied behind her back, and her armor looked slightly damaged from the battle. But she didn't seem hurt. Leo tried to sit up. A groan escaped his lips. She turned quickly and moved. Toward him, her heavy footsteps careful, not loud. She placed a large hand behind his back and helped him sit upright. Her touch was strong, but gentle, like she had done this many times before. Leo looked around. He saw stone shelves filled with plants and bottles. There were old blankets, animal bones, and strange alien tools. Everything looked handmade, like she had been living here for a long time. She handed him a bowl of warm soup. It smelled sweet, with a hint of salt. Leo hesitated for a second, then took a sip. It was good, really good. He looked up at her and gave a weak smile. Thanks. She tilted her head, watching him closely, then repeated softly, safe. It was the only word she seemed to know in his language. Leo wanted to say more, but he didn't know how. So he pointed to himself and said, Leo. She blinked. Then she pointed at him and said, Leo. He nodded. Yes, Leo. She paused. Then she tapped her chest. Myra. Leo repeated the name slowly. Me-ra? She smiled just slightly, but it was there. The days passed slowly. Leo couldn't walk yet, but Myra helped him with everything. She cleaned his wounds with soft leaves. She fed him strange but tasty food. She even built a small stool so he could sit near the fire and stay warm. Though they couldn't speak much, they found ways to understand each other. Leo pointed at things and said the English word. Myra would respond with the word from her own language. They practiced every day. Sometimes they drew pictures in the dirt. Other times they just sat in silence and watched the fire together. Leo had never felt this kind of care, not even back home. One evening, as the wind howled outside the cave, Myra brought out something wrapped in thick cloth. She sat beside Leo and opened it slowly. Inside was a small round device. She pressed a button, and a soft light glowed from it. A hologram appeared, flickering and dim. Leo saw the image of a young alien child, maybe 4 feet tall, with bright eyes and a wide smile. The child danced in the air, laughing silently in the old recording. Leo turned to look at Myra. Her expression was soft and sad. She whispered something in her language, something he didn't understand. But the way she looked at the image made it clear. That was her child. And they were gone. Later that night, while Myra slept near the fire, Leo stared at the ceiling of the cave. He thought about everything that had happened, the war, his unit, being left behind, and now, this a giant alien woman had saved his life. She had fed him, healed him, and protected him. And now he knew why she had lost someone. Someone small. Someone young. And maybe, in some strange way, Leo reminded her of that child. He didn't mind. For the first time in his life, he didn't feel like just a soldier. He felt like he mattered to someone, even if she was an alien. Even if she was twice his size. As sleep took him, Leo whispered the word Myra had taught him earlier that day. Talam. It meant family. He didn't know if Myra had heard him, but when he opened his eyes in the morning, there was a fresh blanket wrapped around him, and her large hand resting gently beside his. Morning light peeked through a narrow crack in the cave wall. It painted soft blue and gold lines across the mossy floor. Leo opened his eyes slowly. His body still ached, but he was stronger now. The bruises were fading, and the deep cuts on his arms were closing. He sat up with Myra's help. She handed him a cup of warm drink, made from ground roots and glowing berries. It was bitter, but energizing. Leo sipped it slowly. "Good," he said with a tired smile. Mira pointed to the cup and said, "Leo nodded." Leo nodded. Then he tapped his chest. "Leo." Mira smiled again. "Leo." They had been doing this every day, pointing, speaking, repeating. He taught her words like water, fire, food, and pain. She taught him her words for the same things. Mira learned quickly. Her voice was deep but soft, and she listened carefully to each sound. Leo enjoyed these lessons more than anything else. It gave them a way to truly understand each other. After noon, they sat by the fire with a flat stone between them. Leo used a sharp stick to draw a picture of a tree. Then he looked at Myra. "Tree," he said. Myra looked at the drawing, then at him. "Shara." He repeated it. "Shara." She nodded with approval. Leo then drew a picture of the earth, a round circle with tiny dots around it. "Home," he said. Myra looked puzzled. She pointed to the planet and asked, "Leo, Shara?" He nodded. "Yes, my home." Myra drew. Beside it, her lines were longer, taller. She made a picture of a tall creature holding a small one's hand. Then she placed her palm over her heart. "Talum," she said. Leo smiled. "Family." Each day they learned more words. Soon they could make simple sentences. Leo said, "Mira, strong." Mira laughed, a soft, deep sound that filled the cave with warmth. Leo, small but brave. They shared food, stories through pictures, and even built simple tools together. Myra showed him how to use plants to make medicine. Leo taught her how to sharpen sticks like spears. They were learning more than language. They were learning how to live together. One day, Leo tried walking on his own. His legs still hurt, but he managed a few steps. Myra stayed close, ready to catch him. But he didn't fall. "I did it," he said, proud. Myra clapped her large hands and grinned. "Leo's strong now." That night, she carved something from a flat piece of stone and handed it to him. It was a medallion with a simple two hands, one small and one large, holding each other. "Talum," she whispered. Leo held it tightly. "Thank you." Later, while resting by the fire, Leo asked, "Mira have more? More family?" Mira's eyes dimmed. She looked into the flames and was quiet for a long time. Then she whispered, "One, small, lost." Leo's chest tightened. He reached out and gently touched her hand. "I'm sorry." Myra didn't speak, but she turned her hand over and wrapped it around his. As days passed, Leo grew stronger. He could walk without help. He could climb small hills and gather firewood. Mira let him help more and more. He built small defenses outside the cave and fixed a broken solar panel they found in a wrecked ship. They weren't just surviving. They were building a life. One night, as stars filled the sky above, Leo sat at the cave entrance with Mira beside him. The air was cool. The moonlight touched the mountains in the distance. Leo looked up and asked, "Why did you save me?" Myra didn't answer right away. Then she said softly, "You were alone, hurt, small, like mine." Leo nodded slowly. "And now?" She turned to him, her glowing eyes soft. "Now you are my Leo." He couldn't speak. The lump in his throat stopped the words. He had been a soldier, a fighter, just a piece in a large war machine. But here, in this cave, under alien stars, he was something more. He was family to someone, and that changed everything. Leo stood near the edge of the cave, breathing the cold morning air. A month had passed since Mira rescued him from the battlefield. His body was healing well. He could walk on his own, gather food, and even train with a wooden spear. Mira had made him a new shirt from thick bark cloth, decorated with small blue feathers. It was strange but comfortable, and Leo wore it with pride. He felt safe now, alive, and for the first time, happy. But safety doesn't last long in a world shaped by war. That afternoon, while Leo was collecting firewood in the valley, below the cave, he heard a strange sound in the distance. A low hum. Machines. He dropped the wood and climbed a nearby rock for a better view. 3 large figures were approaching from the north ridge. They were tall like Mira, but slimmer, wearing dark armor with glowing red lines. Each carried a weapon. One of them looked directly toward the hills toward the cave. Leo's heart began to race. He ran as fast as he could back up the trail. His leg hurt, but he didn't stop. When he reached the cave, Myra was already standing outside, looking toward the same ridge. Her spear was in her hand. "They come," she said softly. Leo nodded, breathing hard. "You know them?" She didn't answer, just stared into the distance. Her face looked different, now no longer warm, but sharp and ready. She turned to Leo and pointed to the back of the cave. "Hide, now," Leo said. "I'm not leaving you," Myra growled low. "Danger, not safe." Leo stood firm. "Then we face it, together." The visitors arrived as the sun began to fall. They stopped a few meters from the cave entrance. Myra stood in front, tall and unshaken. Leo hid behind a large rock near the fire pit, watching. The one in the center stepped forward and spoke in Myra's language. Fast and harsh. Leo couldn't understand all of it, but he caught a few words. Human, forbidden, surrender. Myra didn't move. Then she responded, her voice deep and steady. Leo heard the word Talum. Family. The others laughed. Their leader raised a weapon and pointed it toward the cave. Leo had enough. Stepped out from behind the rock, holding his wooden spear. His hands trembled, but he kept his voice steady. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. "This is my home now." The leader hissed in surprise and barked something in their language. Myra stepped between Leo and the threat, growling loud. "No, he stays." Suddenly, the leader fired a shot into the ground near Leo's feet. The blast scorched the rock. Myra pushed Leo back, her giant body shielding him completely. Leo shouted, "Stop! We're not enemies." But it didn't matter. They came to take him, and they weren't leaving. Empty-handed. The fight started fast. One of the soldiers rushed forward with a blade. Myra met the attack with her spear, knocking the weapon aside with a roar. Another fired a small plasma bolt at Leo, who rolled behind a boulder. Leo grabbed a smoke canister from their storage pile, one of the few pieces of human tech he had kept, and threw it toward the attackers. Smoke filled the cave mouth. Myra fought like a storm, her movements fast and powerful. She knocked one attacker down with her elbow, spun her spear, and sent another crashing into the stone wall. Leo ran through the smoke, striking one in the leg with a sharpened stick. It didn't do much, but it distracted him long enough for Myra to strike him down. Together, they pushed the last soldier toward the ridge. Blood dripped from Myra's arm, but she didn't fall. The enemy fled. When it was over, Myra dropped her spear. Her chest rose and fell slowly. Leo stood beside her, his face covered in dust and smoke. She looked down at him and whispered, "You stayed." He nodded. "Of course. You're my Myra." She smiled weakly. "Brave, but foolish." He laughed. "I learned it from you." That night, Leo helped wrap Myra's wound. She winced but didn't complain. "More will come," she said. "They saw you. Now they will want war." Leo looked into the fire. "Then we prepare. I'm not running. Not this time." Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. We fight. Together. Leo looked up at her massive frame, at the scars on her skin, and the fire in her eyes. He wasn't just a soldier anymore. He was her family. Leo sat near the cave entrance, watching the valley below. The last fight had shaken him more than he wanted to admit. Mira had nearly died. Again, and he knew it wouldn't be the last time. The enemy had seen too much. They knew a human lived here. They'd come again, and next time, they might not. Stop with 5 soldiers. They might bring an entire squad. Or worse. Leo looked down at the small broken device in his hand. A human beacon, badly damaged, but still working. It was old tech, meant to call for help from orbit. He hadn't used it before. He didn't want to bring more war to Myra's home. But now, he had no choice. He worked for hours, soldering wires, adjusting the signal. The device flickered and spat sparks, but finally, it blinked a steady green. Leo held his breath and pressed the button. A soft beep echoed in the cave. Message sent. A simple signal. Coordinates. A call for help. Now. They waited. Myra watched. From the shadows, her arm wrapped in fresh cloth. You called others? Leo nodded. Yes, I had to. We can't survive the next wave alone. Myra looked away. You're kind. They will not trust me. They don't have to, Leo said. They just need to listen. He placed a hand over her massive fingers. I'll protect you, like you protected me. 2 days passed. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. Then, just after sunset, they heard a low, steady hum. Lights flashed above the trees. A human dropship cut through the clouds, hovering over the hills with its engines glowing. It landed on a flat ridge near the cave. Leo stood tall beside Myra. He wore a rough shirt, a leather strap over his chest, and carried the spear Mira made for him. Mira was behind him, her wound mostly healed, but her eyes full of concern. A squad of human soldiers stepped out, guns raised, helmets shining. Leo stepped forward and raised both hands. Don't shoot. I'm human. Name's Leo Morris, Corporal, 3rd Recon. The soldiers paused. One of them lowered their weapon. Corporal Morris, you were marked Kier over a month ago. Leo nodded. Yeah, almost was. The commander stepped forward. You're alone? Leo hesitated, then turned. Mira stepped into the light. The soldiers stiffened. Guns clicked. Wait, Leo shouted. She saved me. She's not the enemy. The commander narrowed his eyes. That's one of the giants. Her kind attacked our colonies. Leo stood firm. Not her. She risked everything to protect me. She's family. There was silence. One of the younger soldiers whispered, She doesn't look like a killer. Mira stood still. She didn't raise her weapon. She didn't growl. She just looked at Leo. Trust, she whispered softly. Leo turned back to the commander. You want to know why I'm alive? Ask her. I wouldn't be standing here without Myra. The commander lowered his weapon slightly. We're under orders. Any large alien threat must be reported, studied, contained. Leo stepped forward. She's not a threat. She's proof that we don't always have to kill to survive. Another silence. Then a message crackled through the commander's comm. HQ orders. Bring the corporal in. Do not engage the alien unless she shows aggression. The commander nodded slowly. Fine. You come with us. But she stays. Leo's eyes narrowed. If she stays, I stay. The commander blinked. You're serious? Dead. Serious. Eventually, the team backed down. They didn't take Myra, but they gave Leo a communication pad, medical supplies, and a promise they'd send his message to Earth Command. He was alive. And he was not alone. As the ship lifted off again, Leo stood beside Mira, watching it disappear into the clouds. "You sure?" Mira asked. "You had a chance to leave." Leo smiled. "And go where? Back to the army? Back to a life that doesn't matter?" He looked around the cave, the fire pit, the drawings, the makeshift bed. "This is where I belong, with you." That night, they sat beside the fire again. That Mira held the old stone medallion, the one with two hands, big and small, carved into it. She handed it to Leo. "You keep it," she said. "You earned it." Leo smiled and placed it around his neck. For the first time, Earth knew he was alive. But more importantly, he knew who he was now. Not just a soldier. Not just a survivor. He was Myra's family. Asterisk, a soft breeze moved through the trees outside the cave. The sky above was painted orange and purple. Leo sat by the fire, holding the stone medallion in his hands. The carving of the two hands, one large, one small, felt smooth beneath his fingers. It had been a week since the human ship left. Earth now knew he was alive. But Leo didn't feel like going back. He didn't feel like a soldier anymore. Mira stirred behind him. She had been resting, her body still healing from the last fight. But every day, she grew stronger. Her voice was returning to full strength. Her steps were firm again. Leo turned as she walked out into the open, wearing a HFY fresh tunic made of cloth and armor pieces. She looked powerful, but peaceful. "Morning," he said. "Sun high," she replied, smiling. They no longer needed many words. Their bond had gone beyond speech. Later that day, Leo checked the communication pad left by the soldiers. A message had arrived from Earth Command status, confirmed alive. Request, return for debrief. Optional, bring peaceful alien subject for study and diplomatic inquiry. Leo stared at the screen. Return. Debrief, study. He looked out across the valley, the hills, the trees. The smoke trails from the battle were gone now. Nature was growing back. This place was nothing like Earth, but it had become home. That night, Mira roasted sweetroot by the fire. Leo helped crush berries for healing balm. They worked in silence, side by side. Then Mira looked at him. "You go?" Leo sighed. "They want me to. For questions, reports. You want to?" Leo looked into her glowing eyes. "I want to stay." Myra lowered her gaze. "But you are not of here. You are from stars." Leo touched her shoulder gently. "And you're not from my world. But I never felt safe there like I do here." She didn't answer. He added softly, "I don't need to be a soldier anymore. You gave me something better." Mira looked at him with calm pride. "Talum," Leo smiled. "Family." The next day, Leo recorded a message for Earth Command. "This is Corporal Leo Morris reporting in. I'm alive, but I won't be coming back. I've made contact with a peaceful native who saved my life. She's not a threat, she's a protector. I request official recognition of her safety and rights under all contact protocols. This world doesn't need more war. It needs peace. I am staying here because this is where I finally found my purpose." He sent the message. Weeks passed. The forest around the cave bloomed with life. Animals returned. Water flowed freely. Leo and Myra built new walls around the cave, shaped better tools, and even crafted a rain catcher for fresh drinking water. One day, a pair of humans arrived, scientists, not soldiers. They wore white suits and carried scanning devices. Didn't come with weapons. Leo met them outside the cave. Myra stood behind him but didn't show fear. The scientists listened. They asked questions. They saw the bond between the two. When they left, they said only one thing: Earth heard you. More time passed. Leo no longer looked like a soldier. His skin had darkened under the alien sun. His body was lean, strong, built from work instead of war. Mira carved a new staff for him, light, sharp, balanced. A gift on the side she engraved. A new symbol, a human and an alien standing side by side, beneath stars. "You are not soldier," she said as she gave it to him. "You are guardian now." Leo smiled. "Guardian of home." She nodded, double quotes, guardian of family. The final scene. Leo stood on the hill, looking at the stars. Beside him, Mira stood tall, her hand resting gently on his shoulder. A small light moved across the sky. A human ship, but this time, it didn't land, Dot. It passed by, peacefully, because Earth no longer saw this place as a battleground, They saw it as a new beginning. He was just a human soldier, until a giant alien mom changed everything, no. He was something far greater, a bridge between worlds, and a son to the heart that saved him.